Hey, what is going on, Twintendo Nation? This morning was a big day for Pokemon Sun and Moon because every single Pokemon, or we think so far, has been leaked and shown in full. You could basically see their sprites, you can see their shiny forms as well. Basically, these were data mined from the demo that came out early this morning. So I'm going to be showing every single Pokemon and every single shiny form for these Pokemon. And I think this is a complete Pokedex, so this should be what we should be getting for Sun and Moon. So this is your last chance. If you don't want to see any of these Pokemon, obviously click off the video. However, if you want to see what's coming in Pokemon Sun and Moon, then stick around and let's get into this video. So first of all, let's start off with the starters. The Chinese rumors have now officially been confirmed. The final evolution is obviously the Archer for Rowlet's evolution, the Wrestler for Litten, and the Siren for Popplio. So for the shinies, Litten is an interesting one because as you guys can see, it stands out really clearly. It's a white colour. Popplio's is quite disappointing. It's a purple, which I didn't really want. But Rowlet's shinies, very cool. It kind of reminds me of Greninjas from the last generation. Really like Rowlet. To be honest, I really like all the starters. So I'm still picking Popplio, but yeah, they're all pretty good shinies apart from Popplio's. But anyway, guys, we're going to move on to some other Pokemon. Some you've seen before and some you haven't. So first of all, as you guys can see at the top, Pikipek has its evolutions, and it's actually a toucan, which we had kind of seen before on someone's shirt in one of the trailers, but that's it, confirmed. And its shinies are pretty interesting. I actually don't mind them. A lot of people don't like Pikipek's evolutions. I'm on the fence. I'm not too bothered about it. I'm not going to get it on my team, I don't think, but it's not the worst thing I've ever seen. As you guys can see down below, there's Yungoos and Gumshoes, I think it is. They're basically the Donald Trump look-alike. Then you've got the bugs down there, which is Grubbin, Charge Volt, I think it is, and Vikavolt, I think it is. No, Charge Bug and Vikavolt, that's it. So I really like Vikavolt's shiny, really good shiny. And then below we have Crabrawler, which kind of evolves into some weird Yeti crab thing. I actually do like its shiny though, the original Crabrawler with the red kind of boxing glove claws. And the other Pokemon, like its evolution, it's a bit weird. It's not bad though. It's just okay, nothing special for me. But anyway, let's move on to the next Pokemon. And up top, you can see it's Oricorio, I think it's called, the dancing bird Pokemon, and it's got a few forms. I think my favourite one is obviously the electric pom-pom ones. I just love the way it moves in the game, but they're all a bit similar to their original forms, apart from, I guess, the first one kind of really changes with an inverted colour scheme, black and red instead of red and black. But it still look really good. Down below you can see Cutiefly and Rabombi's shinies. Really like Rabombi's shinies. One of my favourites I think so far I've seen. I don't know what I like about it. I think it's just a scarf, how it goes really red, and it's just like if you saw that when you were shiny hunting, you would definitely know it's a shiny. That's what I really like about it. There's also Wishy-Washy next to it, which is kind of interesting. And I keep forgetting it's not an evolution, it's actually just a different form, the ones on the right. So it's a really interesting Pokemon. The shinies aren't too interesting, but it's still better than nothing. But down below, some of my favourites definitely. Rockruff, I like pale blue with green eyes, but it's actually Lycanroc's shiny forms that I really like, especially its day form, or the Pokemon Sun version, the blue wolf with the green eyes. Not too big of a fan on the night version, although it's not a bad Pokemon. It just reminds me of Sonic from Sonic Unleashed, so I'm getting bad vibes from that. So yeah, I definitely prefer the day version to the night version, and I hopefully will get a shiny Lycanroc eventually on my team. Now next up is some Pokemon you may not have seen, and these are quite new. So the top left one is an unnamed Pokemon, but it was actually leaked last night on a Pokemon Sun and Moon trading card box. So we don't know what that Pokemon is. It's like a sea urchin Pokemon, and then it evolves into this, I don't know, really armoured Pokemon. I honestly don't know what it will be, but it has probably high defense stats looking at that Pokemon. Then next to that you can see Mudbray and Mudsdale shiny. Not much to say about it. I'm not a big fan of Mudsdales. I'm really surprised the feet and the nose and the part of the hair colour, the orange part, didn't change colour at all. I thought that definitely would. But Mudbray's is okay. I actually don't mind that one. And then we have some weird spider sack thing. Honestly don't know what it is, and I'm not too keen on the design just because I don't like spiders. So, but it's okay. It's not a bad Pokemon by any means. It's just, it doesn't do much for me anyway. The next Pokemon you guys can see is Morlul, the mushroom Pokemon, and it has this really creepy evolution. Like, I don't know, that just really creeps me out if I saw that in the wild. I don't know what it is about. It's just a face. It's really creepy, but it's an interesting Pokemon. Because I didn't think much of Morlul, to be honest. You look at it and it's not much of a Pokemon you can get really excited about, and the evolution is definitely different, so I will give Game Freak that. But anyway, next to Morlul you can see Ferrantis and Lurantis, which are these kind of praying mantis Pokemon, I guess is the best way to call them. Shinies aren't too bad. I'm not a big fan of green or yellow shinies, but to be honest, I'm not a big fan of Marantis and Larantis' normal colour scheme anyway, so it's not too bad, just it's not a Pokemon I'm too interested in personally. But next up is one of my favourite Pokemon, and I know a lot of people don't really like it, and this is Stuffle and Beware. I don't know what it is about this Pokemon. I know they're not great designs, but I just really like him. But as for shinies, they do stand out quite a bit. They kind of got that kind of golden brown teddy bear colour, so that does make sense. It is based off a stuffed animal. Not too bad. I definitely wouldn't mind one of those on my team. And finally, we got Salandit, which turns into a white shiny. Kind of interesting. There's a lot of white shinies, as you might have noticed so far. And then its evolution, which looks, I don't know if it's a female only evolution, because I know there was a description about that for Salandit, but it just gives off that vibe, especially its eyes. I don't know what it is, but yeah, it's got an evolution, and kind of didn't expect that, and it's quite an interesting one at that. Again, another white shiny, pretty interesting. But anyway, let's move on to some more new Pokemon for you guys. And first of all, we have the Bonsweet evolution chain. So as you guys can see, it's Bonsweet, kind of turns a bit purple. Well, it's green, turns a bit purple anyway. And it's white, turns a bit yellow. So we've got Bonsweet, Steenie, and Serena. And then next to that, we have Comfey. And it's actually quite an interesting shiny. I'm surprised the flowers don't change colour, but I actually don't mind that it's just the Pokemon part that changes. It just changes to a clear blue. Definitely obvious if you were shiny hunting and you found that is a shiny, which I kind of like. That's what I like with shinies. Whereas with Oranguru, it doesn't really look that different. It's just got, I don't know, it's white turns to pink, and it's not that impressive for me. But Passimium, which is next to it, is one of my favourite shinies, definitely from this region. It turns its helmet and its coconut changes to a brown, and its white fur changes to kind of a golden or pale gold, and its black, at least its black top half, changes to blue, which is obviously to kind of mimic an American football jersey, which I really like. Definitely one of my favourite Pokemon out there so far. Down below though, the Magikarp of the region Wimpod evolves into this creepy beast of a Pokemon. It's definitely looks menacing. It's kind of obviously like the Magikarp to Gyarados kind of style evolution, which is quite interesting, a bit of a throwback. Really like the design. I definitely wouldn't want to come across one of these in the game, but no doubt someone will have one of these, and it's going to be scary. I think it will have really good stats looking at it. But anyway, we're going to move on to Sandygast and Palossand, which actually get a black shiny, which is completely different from what I was expecting. And I guess the reason is because obviously there's a lot of volcanic eruptions in Hawaii. You get black sand over there due to the mixture of obviously just sand and volcanic minerals and stuff, which I really like. And the red shovel actually turns yellow, which is also another nice feature. One of my favourite shinies as well, so definitely worth getting when the game does come out. Now next up is Pyukumuku's shiny form. It actually turns to a green and yellow shiny instead of a black and pink original form. It's okay, it's not too bad actually. I'm not expecting too much from this Pokemon. I was expecting it to get an evolution, but that's not really happening. Next to it is Type Null, which kind of copies Arceus or Arceus's shiny form, which is obviously just a golden shiny, so that's not too bad. And Silvally, as you guys can see, kind of keeps the same colour scheme as well across the board. The red parts of Silvally change to green, which is kind of an interesting touch. It looks quite good, but I do prefer the original Silvally form. Now next to it is Togedemaru. Now for some reason they can't get the original sprite of that one, so that is the shiny, I'm pretty sure, just a lighter colour by the looks of it. Now the Pokemon on the left, I'm going to go through them down the column basically. So first of all we have Minior, which is kind of like that rock Pokemon, which I guess looks like one of those candies you get from Japan, those kind of star candies. But yeah, pretty interesting. It turns black. It's actually quite a really good shiny. I do like the black shinies. Next up is Kamala, which surprisingly doesn't have an evolution and doesn't really change. In fact, I think the only thing that changes is the drum, which really surprising, or the log. I'm not sure if it's a log drum or whatever. Yeah, that doesn't change. Sorry, that changes, but Kamala doesn't, which is really interesting. But probably my favourite shiny of the region so far is Mimikyu, which turns to just a black and white shiny, which is really interesting. Well, not black and white, but a real pale shiny. Really cool. Definitely one of my favourites. It's just completely unique. You don't see many like that. Bruxish down below looks disgusting on both versions, really, just in terms of colours. So the less said about that, the better. Next up is Turtonator, which is in the middle, as you guys can see. It changes to a brown and kind of pale green, or some bluey green colour instead of its kind of grey and red colour scheme. Not too keen on the Pokemon itself, Turtonator, so its shiny form's okay, it's not too bad. Maybe thought they'd change the yellow parts, but I don't know, some shinies just don't change that much. Drampar is quite an interesting one, just changes from a pale or kind of dark pale green to a pale brown or slightly orangey brown. I was thinking Drampar might get pre-evolution, but you know, it's quite interesting how it doesn't. It's a really good Pokemon in my opinion, and its eyebrows obviously change colour, as you guys can see, to a dark black, which actually kind of makes it look a lot different, surprisingly. And finally, we have this new Pokemon down below, which is this Anchor, which I've never seen before, and I'm guessing is probably a ghost type. Honestly, not sure what it's supposed to be. Kind of an interesting design, but yeah, it's pretty cool. I've got to obviously wait until I see it in action, until I can properly give my verdict. And we don't know the types, by the way, in case you're wondering, of the new Pokemon. None of the types can be revealed because they're just not on the demo, but somehow people left the images in by accident, so which is kind of disappointing, but obviously I have to put on this because it's just my job to as a PokeTuber. But next up, guys, we're going to move on to Jangmo-o and basically that kind of evolution line of shinies and whatnot. Basically, Jangmo-o turns yellow and has pink instead of the yellow kind of head bit, or the pancake dragon as people were calling it last night in the stream. And then there's Hakimoto, which obviously again has a yellow color scheme and pink. And then finally there's Komodo, which is just yellow and pink. Honestly, I think these are my most disappointing shinies. I'm just not a big fan of the color scheme. The yellow on Komodo looks disgusting, really dark yellow. Just, I don't know, it just doesn't look good to me, but you guys might disagree with me, which is perfectly fine. Next up though, very interesting guys, these are the Guardian Deities, basically probably the roaming legendaries, or maybe not even roaming legendaries, but kind of like the legendary trio, but instead we got 4 of them. And obviously, as you guys can see, there's Tapu Koko at the top. It's a really cool shiny, just his yellow changes to black. Really, really like that touch. And then we got 3 other deities, which we've never seen before. So obviously on the right, it's this kind of female looking one, I guess is the best way to describe it. Again, their shiny forms are always black. The bottom left one looks like a bull holding up kind of its 2 arms together. Because it seems to have like a nose ring, which obviously reminds me of a bull, and it's got like that big chest. And finally, some weird clam needle thing, maybe dolphin, I don't know, because there doesn't seem to be a dolphin Pokemon, which is very surprising. So if you don't get a dolphin Pokemon in the Alola region, then we're never going to get one. But as I said, there might be more Pokemon being revealed in the final game, because there were some blank files, but you never know. Now next up, you guys can see Zygarde here. It's kind of similar to just its original shiny form in X and Y. Its black changes to white, and it's not the most, well, it's not the nicest of shinies, that's for sure. Definitely like the dog version though, just a regular, the 10% form. Zygarde does look good, just not in shiny form in my opinion. But next up, we have something very interesting, and these are the legendaries. So starting at the top, there seems to be some pre-evolutions for Solgaleo and Lunala, which is really interesting. Or at least it's a different form. So as you guys can see, they both have shiny forms, both look quite different. Very interesting. I don't know how that's going to work, and that's what's really exciting me. But as you guys can see, Solgaleo turns red, which is a very interesting and striking shiny form. And then Lunala at the bottom looks incredible. Definitely one of the best shinies out there. Just looks great. I don't know what it is about it. It just looks like you're in deep space looking at its wings. And then at the top right, we have Magearna, which has 2 different shiny forms, which is really interesting. I can't remember if any other Pokemon have had 2 different forms before, but obviously we got its regular form on the left, its shiny form which was revealed, or maybe a special form which was revealed in this magazine or something like a month or 2 ago, and then we got this black Magearna. So really, really interesting. I think there have been Pokemon such as Pichu, which has had 2 different shiny forms, which obviously had the Pikachu coloured Pichu and then just the shiny Pichu. So really interesting. And finally, down below, it seems to be Marshadow, which is this really cute black Pokemon. I really love the design of this. Now, it does strike me as like one of the embryo forms, like Solgaleo and Lunala. Could be wrong about this. This is just a gut feeling, so it wouldn't surprise me if this thing has another form. And you're probably wondering what the shiny difference is between this. Well, at the top, on its kind of smoky head part, on the normal version, it's like a pale green, and at the top, on the shiny version at the top, it's like a pale purple. It's really hard to tell. There's not much difference. And finally, we're going to move on to something very interesting and maybe a bit controversial among Pokemon fans. It's kind of split them. You can see here the Ultra Beasts, and they have shiny forms, which does suggest you can catch them, which I'm not too happy about because I'm not too keen on them. But you never know, they might grow on me. Some of them I really like, especially the bottom right one looks incredible, but the others I'm not too keen on. So obviously I'm not going to go over these in too much. You guys make up your own opinion on these, whether you like the Ultra Beasts or not, or maybe you just like their shinies instead. I know there's a lot on that screen. I've tried to fit them in as much as I could. They're just massive Pokemon. I'll call them Pokemon for now because it seems like they will be. They seem to be like household items as well, looking at some of them. Which is kind of interesting. But anyway, I don't know. Very interesting Ultra Beasts. Hopefully they will play a good part in the story. But guys, that's it for today's video. I'm actually doing a giveaway for Pokemon Sun and Pokemon Moon over on Twitter. The links will be in the description below if you do want to enter. All you have to do to enter is retweet the tweets. One is for Pokemon Sun and one is for Pokemon Moon. And just follow me on Twitter, and that's it. You have a chance of winning a copy of Pokemon Sun or Pokemon Moon. And you're allowed to enter both competitions, don't worry. I've had a few people mention that to me. Yeah, you're allowed to enter both, don't worry about that. Also, I'm going to pre-order the game on November the 1st for the winner. Since I'm pre-ordering it, it basically means I can order it for any country, depending on, obviously, the winner. So, I don't have a copy on me, so it won't be just like a European copy only. I can order it if you're American, I can order it if you're from Japan, Europe, whatever. So, don't worry about where you live. I will sort it out. I will, all the posting and all that stuff. So if you do want to enter, as I said in the description, definitely do check it out. But anyway, guys, if you did enjoy the video, definitely hit the like button. Always appreciated. And if you want to stay up to date with everything Pokemon Go and Pokemon Sun and Moon, then hit the subscribe button down below. Anyway, guys, thank you very much for watching. I hope you have an awesome day, and I will see you on the next video. Peace!